The question is that the grievance has been noted, and I call the member for right.
I thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and if I can just offer my affirmation and support to the member for Darwin's or Solomon's contribution in and around cyberbullying. It's a space where we all have to take responsibility, including present parents in that space. And so I wish the Parliament well in its deliberations as hopefully we land somewhere that that addresses that growing issue. Mr Speaker, at the time dedicated to me tonight, I want to speak about the stark differences between the Coalition's economic plan for the future and the alternative position. Mr Speaker, the Coalition government, predominantly we have a fairly basic fundamental principle, is that we support the principles of lower taxes. Those on the other side support and will argue the point that higher taxes is a way of returning the economy to growth. So we campaigned at the last election in and around jobs and growth. And I will demonstrate to you in my contribution tonight that we have not only touched our growth forecast, but we have exceeded historical Labor growth forecasts and previous Coalition growth forecasts. Something our nation, the Turnbull government, can be truly proud of. And that creates the stark difference between what we offer, and I will go on and I'll share with the room as to how those changes came into effect. The Coalition government is heading in the right direction, and we are making gains on the ease of cost of living pressures, helping ensure jobs and job security, and ensuring that we can afford to deliver social services and support those who most need it, Mr Speaker. The same may not be able to be said from those who sit on the other side. I want to just quickly talk about, before I roll into job creation, around the debt and deficit, because often those on the other side will laud the fact that debt has gone up under this government. And the very basic principles of deficit and debt is that debt will continue to rise under any government that doesn't bring surpluses back to reality. If we don't stop the spending, the debt position is accumulative. The only way that the debt can go down is to stop the spending. So we're going to, and we're stopping the spending in and around welfare entitlements because we're creating the opportunities in the workforce. We're taking those burdens off, which is helping the government in its mid-year economic forecast, which I'll speak to. So we believe that a stronger economy is the key to creating more and better paying jobs. Now, it's topical at the moment that Australia, we're looking for better wage growth. This is not a problem that is isolated to Australia. It is a global problem. The Reserve Bank Governor, Philip Lowe, has indicated that wage inflation or wage growth is directly linked to inflation itself, and the Globes in the OECD we all struggle with the same thing. But we are leading the pack in the OECD on our growth rates, and that is a good thing. And part of that growth rate is part of the economic policy positions that we're setting in and around tax reform. More than 400,000 jobs were created in the year 2007. Now, you just need to breathe those numbers in. Over 400,000 jobs, and it was the strongest calendar year on record. The Australian economy is creating just on 1,100 jobs every single day. And if you think that the Australian public were sick of hearing the jobs and growth slogan, well, we're going to keep on reminding everyone that we've created over 400,000 jobs, 1,100 every day, because we are making a difference. The vast majority of these jobs have been full-time. So don't let anyone tell you that they are just trickery numbers or they're a sleight of hand. They are full-time, real jobs. Do your cross-analysis against those that were on welfare, where our welfare payments are going down. We've got more people in work. The numbers of new jobs created in the last year represent nearly just on five times the growth rate of the last year of the previous Labor government. And I've got those figures here, Mr Speaker, and we're looking to build it on a stronger economy with more and better paying jobs for Australians. So there's a graph that I have in my hand which states that from the year 2008 to 2013, Labor in that environment created just under 150,000 jobs for the year, and I think that would have been just around the beginning of the mining, 1 in 150-year capital expenditure in the mining sector. Average under Howard government from 96 to 2007 was just under 200,000. Then the average under Coalition from 14 to 17 was just on... In last year, 2007, was more than 1,000 jobs a day, just over the 400,000. It is a remarkable achievement. Remarkable achievement. So where did the jobs come from? How is it that a government can come into office and create record positions, and we do it because most of us come from a business background? Absolutely. The member for Petrie is well aware of the opportunities that are created from the small business sector, because they create up to 80% of the employment opportunities here in Australia. So what we did, we sat down with the small business sector, and we said we're going to give 3.2 million small businesses a reduction in their income tax, which effectively touched 500,000 middle-income Australians. So we reduced their income. As part of the government's enterprise tax plan, additionally, the company rate for small business has been cut to its lowest rate in 50 years, from 27.5% for businesses with a turnover up to 25 million this year, and for businesses with a turnover up to 50 million, that kicks in the year 18-19. So the basic principles of that is that we're saying, you keep your tax money. You keep that difference that we would have normally taken on the 30%, because we believe that if you've got that little extra bit of money, you're going to invest it more wisely. You're going to invest that into plant and equipment. You're going to invest it into taking a holiday. You're going to invest it into buying a new car. You're going to invest it on doing renovations in the house. You're going to invest it on putting more staff on. All of those buttons were ticked, because all of those other investment opportunities have a multiplier effect in the economy. And if you're going on holiday, you're employing people in the tourism sector. If you're buying a new car, you're employing people in the car sector. The flow-on effect has a multiplier roughly of around 4 in the Australian economy. For the unincorporated business with less than $5 million turnover, we have introduced a tax discount of 8%, and that's capped at $1,000. But we need to do more, and we will do more, Mr Speaker, because these changes will benefit 3.2 million businesses, employing 6.7 million Australian jobs, helping them to invest and helping to create even more jobs. Every year since the year 2015, the Coalition Government has provided an assistant asset write-off for small businesses with a turnover of less than 10 million. This means that small businesses can instantly deduct each year every asset under 20,000. So what would have traditionally happened in that mindset is that the member for Petrie would have went out in his pest control business, would have went out and bought himself a new vehicle, and the old accounting standards, he probably would have depreciated up that new motor vehicle over 4 years, depending on the term of the lease that you took out on your vehicle. Given that you cashed up, you probably would have paid cash for it anyway, member for Petrie. But what the instant tax write-off does now is it gives the member for Petrie and businesses like his the ability to write that $20,000 off in the first year, creating an enormous incentive. And what happens? They get that money back then at the end of the year. With that extra coin, they go and put more people on. It has been a great benefit, and even those on the other side, when they go and talk to their small businesses, would be supportive of the instant tax write-off. Last year, around 300 small businesses accessed the instant tax write-off to invest in machinery and equipment to help grow their businesses. We will fight Labor's plan for $150 billion in new tax increases on pay packets, on homes, on electricity, on an enterprise. We're also doing some incredible stuff in childcare, Mr Speaker. We talk about cost of living pressures. Affordable and accessible childcare is critical to supporting parents who are balancing work and family responsibilities. Most households, as we all know now, are probably double-income families trying to make ends meet. Mums at work, dads at work, kids are getting pushed off to childcare. We're creating an environment where that's cheaper for them to be able to cope. From July 2018, we will remove the $7,600 annual rebate cap for families on incomes to around $185,000. That's 185% of family using childcare. Mr Speaker, at the next election, there will be stark difference between our policies of lower taxes, and I'll leave the room with the words of Winston Churchill, who spoke about tax reform and suggested that Trying to tax an economy into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up with it.